Hey, today I'm going to show you some parts that I received, and they're going to improve the Nissan 300ZX as well as other vehicles. And we're going to unbox some great parts that I got. Starting with turbo heat shields. Now, whenever you do a turbo, you want a little heat shield in there to help out, which is always very helpful. Turbo heat shields. Alright. Okay, here we go. Turbo heat shield. I bought 4 of them because I have quite a few turbochargers on things. And here's what the heat shield looks like. Nice blue heat shield. Looks good and attaches with springs. You attach those areas from here to here once you cover the turbo's exhaust area. And you put them together with some springs. This little heat blanket keeps your turbine housing a lot cooler under the hood, reduces under hood temperatures, and also if you happen to have your hands under the hood and you happen to touch the turbo's housing, you don't burn your hand. So it has a few purposes. I got 4 of these, all blue because I like blue. Put 2 of them on the F-150, the twin turbo, and 2 more on another twin turbo I'm going to do pretty soon. So that's what the turbo heat shields look like. Got a good deal on them. They were about like here you go. Look at the box they came in. Each of these heat shields was about around $25, $30. Yeah, so that's not too bad. I bought 4 of them. And another item I received is my GT35 turbocharger, which is a great turbocharger for my 300ZX turbo. I'll show it to you. Comes with gasket. Here it is. GT35. Take it out of the bag. Let you see it a little bit. There it is. Look inside the compressor. Here's the compressor and the compressor wheel. Really nice. It's got a T3 turbine housing, so it can bolt right onto a lot of factory T3 manifolds. And these little holes on the compressor housing, when you let off the gas, it helps reduce boost that's in your boost line. So it's just as good as having a blow-off valve that, lets your turbo spool down faster than without it. Now, I usually don't run blow-off valves because you don't really need them, but when you let off your gas, if you want your turbo to spool fast, having these or a blow-off valve helps out to spool your turbo down. So this GT35, it's a pretty good sized turbocharger. it's going to go into my Nissan 300ZX Turbo. It's oil cooled, so it has an oil supply line and an oil return line, which are right here. Here's where the oil supply goes, right here. And there's where the oil return goes. And here is the T3 flange where you bolt to the exhaust manifold or turbo header. Here's your turbo housing right here. It's a 63 AR. It's got a V-band clamp, so you can attach your exhaust by a V-band clamp, which makes life a lot easier instead of having to make a special bolted flange. For a lot of turbos that have a bolted flange here, just have a V-band and a V-band clamp. You weld the V-band to your the V-band adapter. You weld it to your exhaust. You put the two halves together and you clamp it with a V-band clamp, and therefore easy way to hook up your exhaust. So GT35, what a great turbocharger. I've been waiting for this one for a little bit. And what's nice is you can get this turbocharger for less than $200. What a bargain. It's some bargain performance, and it can give you around 500 horsepower depending on what your application is. So talk about a lot of bang for the buck. That's a lot of bang for the buck. A lot of boost for the buck. So, good stuff. Alright, I'll show you another turbocharger that I got. I had to get some more TO4E turbochargers because I used my last two on the F-150, the 86 F-150. So, got to get some more. I got some more. And here's the V-band flange that I was talking about. There's the clamp, and there's the little flange that you weld to your exhaust pipe, and then you clamp it with this and what's on the turbocharger. So you got your V-band clamp, V-band flange. Here's the new TO4E, new in the bag. Same ones I put on the F-150. They have internal wastegates built onto them. It's got a V-band flange to hook your exhaust to. Pretty good size compressor and compressor wheel. And these turbos are about $150 each, which is a really good deal considering the performance you can get. With low boost, two of these will give you at least 500 horsepower. Two of them. Two of the TO4Es run in the twin series can give you at least 500 horse on even low boost, which is impressive. Yep. Gotta love these turbochargers. Then I'll show you a T70 turbo that I ordered. I'm probably going to go twins on another V8 with twin T70s. It also has a T3 flange. Here's the T70. It's pretty similar to a GT35, but it's just a little bit smaller. AR70. Got a pretty nice size compressor and intake. It also has the V-band flange, so you can adapt your exhaust real easy with the flange and a V-band clamp. Oil return. Oil supply. There's your turbine wheel. And here's your T3 flange right here. T3 flange. This is a nice turbocharger and quite a good deal and a bargain at $170. Almost, yeah, about $170 for each of these turbos. That's a good deal considering each turbo has the potential to make you about 500 horsepower. Pretty damn impressive. And at least a couple hundred at low boost. So quite an impressive setup. The T70 and the T76. Or the T70, the TO4E, and the GT35. They're all very impressive turbochargers. Alright. So altogether I got two TO4Es, a T70 and a GT35, 4 heat shields. So that's going to take care of my projects for at least the next year. I wanted to buy these turbochargers before inflation makes them a lot more expensive and unaffordable. Because I mean, buying turbos for less than $200 a piece, that's really good. Inflation, once that kicks in, they're going to be several $100s a piece. So I wanted to get my few years worth of turbos now. Well, I'll show you how these turbochargers look when you put them on an engine. They look really nice. Like on this 1986 Ford F-150, you can see how these TO4Es look. There's the V-band clamp on the back, where you just put a flange on the exhaust. This is a small block Ford engine with twin TO4Es. There's one TO4E, turbo header, the second TO4E. And I just put this engine in. I just have to do a lot more connections. I've got another 1.5 inches to go between the transmission bell housing and the engine. As you can see, there's a little gap right there between them. It's always really hard to get that last 1/2 inch whenever you're stuffing an engine into a transmission, especially a manual transmission. That last inch and some change is so hard to get. You got to really push hard on it and turn the crank a little bit to help you get the spline just right. Whereas an automatic, you just connect the torque converter to the flex plate, put the bolts in, and then, you know, put the transmission on the engine block. So there we go. Small block Ford twin turbo in this F-150. I can't wait to see how this is going to run. And of course, there's the old straight 6 engine that used to be in there. And I like the straight 6 engine. It's just undercarbureted with this tiny 1-barrel carburetor, tiny intake manifold, and look at the tiny exhaust. So this engine doesn't breathe good, but it had low end torque. Now we would have used the straight 6 and put a really big performance manifold on and a 4-barrel carburetor and a header, but it blew a rod. Look at that big old hole right there. There's the rod journal right there. Look at that. And the cam is right there. Big hole in the block. Yeah, the cam or the rod cap or something gave way, broke the rod goes flying, and rod's probably connected to the piston and just dangling somewhere inside. But look at that, rod completely grenaded from the straight 6. You can see the camshaft right there above the crank, because right there is where you access the cam to access the lifters, and of course the cam is here and the crank is there, so they're really close in proximity to each other. But yeah, that's why we're not using the straight 6, is because through a rod. But there's some differences between the straight 6 and the V8 when trying to put it in the same truck. The engine mount distance between engine mount and the transmission flange is 5 inches longer than that of the V8. So it has been challenging to try to line this up. I've had to use some steel to make an exhaust. I've had to use some steel to make a motor mount extension. If you can see down here, look at the motor mount, and you can see the metal I attached to it. Yeah, it's been a challenge getting this engine to go in. I keep finding more and more things that it needs. The oil filter doesn't fit very well, which is down here. We'll see right there where the oil filter threads are, right there. I'm basically going to put an oil filter relocation kit in there, which will take up about that much space, and relocate the oil filter somewhere up here. So that'll be the solution for the oil filter being too close to the engine mount area. So little by little I'll be getting this engine in, and hope you like this video on some updates and unboxing of turbochargers and related parts. Please like and subscribe, and it's not too hard to find these deals out there. Please keep watching, like, share, all that good stuff. Let your friends know all these great deals that can be found. You can make your own turbo kit. See? And save a lot of money. Because if you were to buy or find an entire turbo kit for this, you'll pay upwards of about $6 grand, $5 grand, something like that. But if you piece together your own turbo kit little by little and buy the parts separately, you can get everything for around $500–600, a fraction of the price. So please like and subscribe to Mad Boosting, and remember, Mad Boosting.